Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trendy with Kim Allison. And today's guest, Hunter Donia. He has his own podcast, The Modern Hairdresser, and he's a busy man. He's a busy boy. So I'm happy to have him on today because when he's not podcasting with me, he is teaching stylists how to run their businesses efficiently. He has a whole community. I love it so much. Hunter, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to come on the last time, Kim, and it's been so cool to see all of the episodes that you've put out since. Because I feel like when I came on last, it was kind of closer to the beginning, and it's just been so cool to see how you've been showing up so consistently and serving the community in such a beautiful way and having really good conversations with people. So it's an honor to be invited back, and I'm excited to be here today.
You know, that means so much because this podcasting world, as you know, it ain't easy.
No, it's
And
not. No, it is
and
not.
you look at your analytics and you're like, who am I? Is anybody listening? Like, who am I actually talking
Anybody out
to?
there? Is this thing
Yeah.
on?
Hello, hello, hello. You know, because we are having the best conversations on here. And I hope to grow that engagement this year. I'm putting some systems of my own in place to see if I can get the ball rolling. And as you know, with funneling and with anybody that creates a course, some of it's bullshit, a lot of it's bullshit, and you
Yep.
waste a lot of time and money trying to figure out how to find the truth. I feel like the truth is a diamond in the rough, honestly.
Very
And,
true.
what can I say? So
Well,
I'm
and
gonna
I think it's a sentiment for all business owners that I think truly the diamond is figuring out what's going to work for you. I think that this one diamond over here that somebody else did may work really well for some people, but then it's not going to work well for all people, right? And it may have to be chiseled into a different shape to be able to actually work for somebody. And I think that that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned as a business owner is that if there is a theory that's proven or a strategy that's worked out there in the past, you are your own unique human being. You are your unique voice in business. And I don't think that there is a world in which there is a one size fits all. I do think that we can be well informed by proven strategic things in the past, but I think that it always has to be customized to the individual because it'll never be as perfect and as aligned as it was for the previous person because they're a completely different person and a different business than you, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. Thank you for that. I'll take every nugget I can get. And, I figured, you know what? I if I'm passionate and I really mean and have this purpose
Yes.
that I set out to do this, if I don't show up as myself, then what am I doing here? So,
Period.
I
Period.
whoever's watching, thank you. And then we'll
Yeah.
leave it at that.
I love it.
Okay. All right, Hunter. So we chatted a bit off camera about what we're going to get into today because what this podcast started as, it's naturally evolved, speaking of being true to yourself, into one conversation. And that conversation is between stylist, our world of new stylists versus seasoned stylists, and also the client and hair enthusiast. Because
Yeah.
I felt like there was something missing. Like we
Mhm.
can't have these conversations just amongst each other because the client really is the third leg.
Totally.
Without them, we don't even have a community, right?
Yeah, without them, we're
So
not hairstylists,
and
right?
we're not hairstylists. Yeah, so they need these same answers to these same questions. I think it all
Mhm.
goes hand in hand. So,
Yeah.
let's jump into our first topic, and that is emotional pricing. So, stylists, I like to see what stylists are Googling. I like to see what clients are Googling. Who better to answer these questions than us who actually stand behind the chair and do the work?
Yeah.
So they're Googling this price per minute situation. They don't really like this. And, while at the same time, we're also talking from a stylist perspective. It is true. I spend the same hour with my male clients that I do with my female clients, but they
Yeah.
pay half the price.
Yeah.
Why? Right? So, what's your take, Hunter, because you're all about systems. How do we stop guessing the price and start, with more of a systematic way or systematic approach?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, pricing is such a nuanced conversation, right? And
Mhm.
with this particular topic, when we talk about maybe gender neutral pricing or time based pricing, that's when we really look at like the structure of the pricing. Now, if we're talking about, because I feel like there's like a million different topics when it comes to this, but when it comes to like specifically gender neutral pricing, I do think that like ethically with the way that the world is moving, in my own opinion, in the way that I run my own business, I do believe that it is something that is beneficial to be adopted for every party involved for the most part. Where many people find it to be a difficult transition is when your men's cuts are so dramatically discounted in comparison to your quote unquote women's cuts, right? Then what ends up happening is like, okay, if you want to go gender neutral tomorrow and your timing is the same for the men's cuts and the women's cut, then that means that you're going to be really raising your men's cut up like a significant amount. And that's really like the big barrier that I find that most people have when they intend to do something like this. And I think that that's when, again, pricing has so many different nuances. It's like, what kind of business are you running? What majority of your clientele is men's cuts? What majority of your clientele is haircut only services? Because, okay, let's say that you only have a couple men that this is affecting, right? Or let's say that, maybe 50% of your clientele is men. Maybe you really want to focus on a completely different specialty than haircutting. So it's really not that big of a deal if you get rid of a ton of men's cuts and you're able to fill them back in with a different service, right? So that's when, when you're working with me one-on-one, and this is where, the sentiment of when I first started, this episode with you, this conversation, when I said it's not a one size fits all box, but I do believe that with like slow and steady gradual rollouts and also just like strategic marketing in the way that you're looking at your clientele and how it affects your profit at the end of the day, I think that it is possible for everybody to be able to successfully implement genderless pricing without jeopardizing their success. But I'll pause there because before we even started the episode, guys, I was like, I'm a yapper. You have to cut me off, or else I'll keep on ranting. So,
No, actually, you were dropping gems. I appreciated it. I was all ears.
mm,
Well, I think that too, it is a nuanced conversation, right? Because
yeah,
if you have a loyal following and you've been doing these men for decades, right? Years, it's like, okay, you went from 40 to like 100, damn, right? For
yeah,
them, right?
yeah,
So you have to kind of gradually make that transition, but while at the same time, barbering has caught up to cosmetology, that we're in the
true,
same world now,
true.
and if they went to a barber, they're gonna pay their barber $100. So it's
Yeah, the
almost
barbers are
flipped.
not joking around.
They're not messing around, and it's almost flipped. The
Yeah.
barber is now more expensive than the stylist.
Yeah, very good point. And so therefore it's like, that makes our job if we want to become a gender neutral, if we want to have a gender neutral pricing model, it does make our job a little bit easier. And I think that's a great point that I haven't really thought about before. And I'll say with my own transition, because I did transition from like men's and women's cuts to a gender neutral haircut. I didn't just start out with a gender neutral pricing model. When I changed over, it was probably like a maybe like 30 $35 increase for my men,
Mm.
and I really like didn't lose that money many. Now granted, I did not have a crazy amount of men's clients, right? But the ones that I did like really loved me, trusted me. A lot of men are so like, as we know, I mean, even me when I go to my barber, I'm just kind of like, dude, I don't even know. I trust you. Just like have fun, right? And I think that a lot of men don't like change. They like convenience. They're willing to pay for convenience. And I think that if you've created a good, strong, trusting relationship with a lot of them, then a lot of them will stay around. And that's the same sentiment for when you do any price increase for any clientele. The more that you create an amazing client experience, great trust and relationship with your clients, they are willing to pay a higher price to be able to get the result. And I don't think that this is an exception to that rule.
Yeah, I agree. And, I'll say this because it's true. If you are a female stylist cutting men's hair, you do have a leg up, especially if you're
Mm.
cute. They'll pay you whatever.
Sure.
Just saying, they will.
Yeah.
So they ain't going nowhere. All right,
Mm-mm.
so price per minute, before
Mm.
we move past, we're just gonna spend a quick second on this price per minute situation.
Yeah.
Price per minute, is that a thing? Is that even sustainable? Like, 'cause
So My so here's my personal philosophy, okay? My personal philosophy, like if you were like, Hunter, if you were to take over my business and run my business the way that you want to, how would you do it? This is how I would do it. I enjoy a model in which the prices are set by time and some cost of product, but the way that they are presented to the client is not by time. Okay. So the reason why is because I'm a big fan of they like session package pricing, I like to call it. Everybody has a different word for it, like hybrid or whatever it may be, where it's almost like you take like the benefits of a la carte and you take the benefits of, let's say, an hourly or price per minute model, and then you remove all the cons and you like combine them together, in my opinion. Where I think the big problem with having an hourly or a time based pricing structure when it is on the front end, the client facing side, where the client now understands, okay, if you take X amount of time, I'm paying X amount of money. What ends up happening is you immediately are giving leverage to your client over your prices. And that is not something that we want to do, right? We want to have all the leverage of how much we're charging this person, however we want to charge this person. Of course, with mutual agreement, right? But there's no incentive for you to be getting done faster, right? There is now
yeah,
confusion or distrust in the client because now the client is maybe thinking, oh, this person's chatting to me a lot, they're taking their time, they're
yep.
taking a sip of water so they can charge me more. And that's not just in the chair, that's also before they even decide to book with you. If they're seeing that you are hourly price, there are immediately red flags and trust, negative thoughts in their
Yep.
brain. And I think a lot of that does absolutely come from the way that hairstylists have gotten a lot more progressive over the past couple of years, which I think is awesome, about being about the way that they're doing business and a big push towards more time-based pricing. But how we are like going on Instagram and TikTok and saying, I charged this person $5,000 and here's why, like they took me 5 hours, whatever it may be. People are just scared.
Yeah.
And when I on an annual basis, I run a client survey to women specifically who visit boutique salons in the United States. And when we asked people 2 years ago, which pricing model would you prefer? And I like explained each pricing model. Only 5% out of like the 200 women that we surveyed, only 5% said that they would prefer hourly pricing over the other pricing structures that are out there, such as a la carte or package pricing. And
Mhm.
so clients are really distrusting of it. And I also think it causes a lot of issues for the stylists. And I like a model in which you kind of mix them together where you price the service based upon your time. But the way that you present that to the client is, I have this package, it includes everything, this is what it costs, and that is what it is. And you make sure that it is priced for profit beforehand.
No, I love that approach because there's no reason for the client, it's TMI.
Yes.
They don't need the play by play. I mean, it's too much for a client to digest, and to your point, the client ends up micromanaging the appointment because 'cause they're
Yep.
like, "Oh, you're texting somebody. Am I paying for that? Am I paying for you to go to the bathroom? Am I
Yep.
paying for you to mess up my toner and then have to retone me? Am I paying for" you know what I mean? And I
Totally.
think it changes the temperature of the appointment, and to your point, yes, definitely, presentation is everything. So, yes, thank you for that formula too. So, guys,
Yeah.
go back and replay that part of our conversation. Alrighty, let's get into our next topic, co-working and suite evolution.
Mm.
So, clients are Googling, they're kind of, I don't know if clients are Googling this or maybe it's both stylists and clients, but there's been a shift, right? You have traditional commission, and then you have these suites situations, you have hybrids, all of the things. So I'm in a solo situation, right? I am overusing the word situation. I gotta revisit my
Dude, I
vocabulary,
say it
so my
all
bad.
the
I'm
time.
like, "Seriously, am I stuck? Like, am I glitching? What am I doing right now?" Anyway, I'm in a solo suite,
Mm,
and I do miss community. And, my salon suite place that I work in, it's an open door type place where everybody they just work with their doors open. So it
mm,
almost feels like we can go in each other's suites and ask
sure.
questions, what have you. But there's still some camaraderie missing, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think in what you're seeing, because you talk to a bunch of stylists all day long? Do you think that community style, salon is making a comeback, or are we gonna move further into the world of salon suites?
Well, I definitely think that the playing field is starting to even out for everybody involved. I know that I think for two reasons, people are starting to reconsider kind of like the sweet life or just being completely by themselves. And the one is what you were bringing up was the missing community. I mean, we're hairstylists. We're probably at nature social creatures, and being an entrepreneur is very lonely. So then, let
Mhm.
alone, you're doing this like sweet life by yourself, and you're also have just the general loneliness of owning a business and feeling like nobody understands. I mean, your family and your friends don't understand, right? So, and you're not going to, rant to your clients about your business, and they're not going to understand either. And so, I think that absolutely like the loneliness comes into play with the shift that we're kind of seeing with a little bit more of people leaving suites and then going into, a group environment again. But the other
Mhm.
thing is that the huge boom of going solo, a lot of people didn't really recognize like what they were getting themselves into. They didn't really recognize like what it takes to own, run, and grow and maintain a full blown business. They didn't realize that like you are now signing up for two full-time jobs. The one full-time job of working behind the chair, the one that you signed up for, the one where it's like you have a full-time job of just doing the hair, doing the clients, right? But
Yes.
now you are literally signing up to have a second job of owning, running, and maintaining and growing the business. And I don't think that a lot of people recognize that that's what they're truly signing up for. And so I think that a lot of people have had a rude awakening over maybe the 2+ years that they've been in a salon suite and recognizing that, they can't keep up with this, whether that be from the capacity that they have, the energy that they have to continue to run the business, or it just being with mismanaging the business because they don't have the
Mhm.
um, uh, uh, resources, knowledge, or community even to make it happen. And that's why I love the communities that we run, is because we empower a lot of independent stylists with those tools and that knowledge. But if you're not willing to seek it out, or if you don't even know that it exists, it's really hard to keep up with it all. And so I think it's the loneliness, and I think that it's the mismanagement of the business and not really, doing the things that are required to keep this sustainable. I mean, your rent is going to raise, your costs are going to raise. You need to raise your rates too, but you have to raise them responsibly. And you need to have other moving pieces in place that's going to make it so you can sustainably do so without losing all of your clientele. And so I think that that's really making a push out. But I do think that a lot of like I've seen salon suite owners who are really successful and business oriented, they also are considering not just going back to a group model and being an employee or a booth renter, but opening up their own spaces as well too. So there's a big shift in that as well.
Oh,
And so we see that a lot of these salons are now, as a lot of salons are closing and have closed, unfortunately, there are getting replaced with these like really like entrepreneurial like salon suite owners that now want to create their own space for other people. Like I have somebody who I coach really intimately within my program who just opened up like a 4-chair booth rental salon, and her whole angle is like, we offer you the independence with the feeling of community and support. And I think that that is like the perfect space and the perfect structure and model for the push of what's going on right now with salon suite owners, still wanting that independence, still wanting to control what happens with their money, but wanting to be around community and wanting support from a semi mentor or other people in the space that they can trust.
yes, and I think you just, gave birth to a new business model. That
Yeah,
hybrid, just bring the salon suite and the salon, open floor salon together and make
yeah,
it one. I think each one has their pros,
yep,
right? But I say with the salon suites, I think people would probably scare the shit out of themselves if they actually knew how to do their numbers and
Oh, yeah.
realize they're not making any money whatsoever. I mean,
Yeah.
literally not, right?
Yeah.
But that's a whole 'nother episode. We could
I
literally
would
do
love to
an
have that
episode just
conversation.
on that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's focus on now. Let's shift a little bit over to how people are growing their businesses, right? Because we had for so long, you got to have a viral moment. You got to focus on your social media. That is the end all be all. But is it? Because SEO engagement or SEO optimization is also very important. Is it more important that be driven and maintained or whatever than it is a viral moment? What do you think?
Um, yeah, great question and great observation too. As far as like more people kind of getting interested in that side of things. The reason why that's the case, where like SEO is kind of becoming a really important thing, is because of AI. Very much so.
Mm.
So for anybody who's listening, just in case anybody wants a little bit of a pre-explanation and you don't know what SEO actually is. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. And what it basically is from a business perspective is making it so your business is as easily found as possible on the internet. So if somebody does a Google search, that it's ensuring that you are going to be the one that shows up, or that you even show up at all, or that you show up higher in rankings. And so we do that by using certain keywords. We do that by positioning certain things on our website the way that we should. We do that by getting more reviews, having a Google My Business profile, all that stuff. And so the reason, like I said, that this is becoming even more so extremely important is because of AI and how the general consumer is now finding
Mhm.
a salon professional or any business that they work with. Because whether anybody likes it or not, a lot of search engines either have AI in them, or the general consumer is going straight to like an AI chatbot, such
Mhm.
as we all know, ChatGPT, to be able to find that local service provider. And the AI is working the same way ish, the same way that Google had worked, as far as crawling a
Mhm.
website and trying to find out what kind of business this is, what searches should we show this business up in. But the AI is doing it much more specifically. And so that's why we really need to make sure that our SEO is not just, it's not just the general good old have hairstylists and salon
Mhm.
in our location, in our keywords and in our website and all that stuff. It's now like, how can we really position ourselves as the specific solution for our specific customer who would be looking for us? Because otherwise they won't find you, because AI is trying to find a really specific beautiful match for the consumer. And so nowadays, I mean, even like the AI on a Meta on Instagram and Facebook, like when you do searches in that key in the search bar, like it's using AI to find those profiles now. And so now,
Mm.
like everything that you put in your posts and everything that you put in your bio and the title and the handle, like that all counts. And so we kind of have to think a little bit harder and a little bit more strategically in what we're putting out there, and making sure that we're using the optimized words that is going to increase the likelihood of us showing up in those really specific AI searches.
Oh, wow, that's great information. Thank you so much for that breakdown. I learned some things, and I'm sitting here taking notes like, "Hey, I learned some things too."
Yeah,
But I think what I hear you're saying hear you saying is AI is much more detailed than any other, way of searching.
yes,
And also, I think that if you have your SEO up to snuff, you have more control over the narrative than you do on socials, because it's
absolutely.
Instagram that controls everything you do. Like, you think
Yeah,
it's you, it's not you. It's them. And in all social
yeah.
platforms, in my opinion, they
Yeah.
control who sees your content.
It's very true. And also, like, so your original question, which I didn't necessarily answer, was like, should we be prioritizing SEO
Yes.
over like our good old social media things that we're always told to be? or told to do. The
Mhm.
ideal answer is we want to continue a mix of both because everything counts. Like every post that you put out there is now going to count towards whether AI can find you or not. I mean, we even have like a guest speaker, one of my good friends, Gloria. I think it's Gloria Chow on Instagram. So
Mhm.
Chou. Hopefully, I didn't misspell her name or mispronounce it. But she is all about helping small businesses get featured in PR
Mhm.
and PR, such as like your local newspaper
Yep.
or your like a local magazine or publication, or even like a state's or even a national one. Anywhere where you're put in a recognizable quote unquote like authoritative or an entity seen as an authority, anytime you're featured in something like that, that
Mhm.
really can
Yes.
help you in search results and getting found, right? And AI is going to take that very seriously. So anything counts basically, but the main thing that counts when we're talking about SEO and probably like the laziest type of growth is probably Google My Business and having a proper website. So like not your booking site, okay? Not the booking
Right.
site that your booking system sets up, but like having a proper website that you build either with Wix, Squarespace, or now there's AI website builders like Lovable and Base 44 out there. Having a real website that can get indexed by Google, having that is like the laziest, biggest cheat code as long as you set it up correctly and do the right work to having very quick and easy growth that you don't have to work so hard for. But I don't think that that means that we completely abandon social media because, like I said, everything counts. And when they find you and your website, when you do show up in the Google search, they are not just going to take your website and the couple reviews that you have on the Google My Business profile for
Mm.
face value and just go with you. They're going to look on your Instagram as well too, and they want to see a long portfolio of work. They want to see how you're presenting that work. Like they are going to do some stalking before they actually make the decision. So there probably should be at least some maintenance on social media always, no matter what. But yes, like having the strong foundation of SEO set up will make the entire job a lot easier for you.
Yes, absolutely. And in my opinion, I don't know. I'm feeling social media is getting less and less interesting for
Yeah,
folks. I don't know. I just feel it because I feel
I
it
agree.
myself, right? So we'll see, right? It'll be interesting to see moving ahead what the next few years brings us. I know AI is going to be a huge. I mean, it's already taken over everything, right? So
Yeah.
I know you use this because I've noticed that on your platform that you use the automation, like DM, the auto replies, all the things. Should we be using AI for captions and messaging back clients and doing our, automated everything? Should we be using this? Do you think this is going to make us too lazy? Like,
Mm,
but it saves time. I get
yeah.
that. But how much AI, in your opinion, should we be using in our businesses?
Oh, what a great question. And maybe you saw my story the other day because I went on my story and I woke up, okay? I woke up in bed and I was just like started my scroll as most like everybody does. And I just saw just AI generated shit that just did not that it was just so obviously AI, okay? And so what's happening now, and you said, like, how you go on social media and you're just not as interested anymore, right? What now is happening with AI is that the creation, generation, and execution of content can now be so much more streamlined that people can produce at a much higher volume. So there is just tons more content getting fed into the algorithm. And so now there's even more saturation, which is why it gets even harder and harder and harder for you to stand out. But now also you have a consumer, a general person, your potential new client, now putting their blinders on to even more things. So as if social media wasn't dopamine receptor frying enough, right? Like we would go on and with short form content, your brain is now being trained more and more and more and more to filter out unimportant information to it. So, like, primally, your brain wants to save calories as much as possible. And thinking and paying attention absolutely costs you energy. And so, your brain is trained to figure out and filter out information as it's being fed to you, to figure out what is relevant to my survival and what is worth my attention and my energy and my time versus what's not. And so that short form content has really like kind of like chiseled that down a lot. And so if the content is not hyper relevant to you, then you are very likely to scroll past it very quickly, because we can
Mhm.
oftentimes within like 1 second decide whether or not this is going to be worth our time, and we can scroll right past, right? And
Yeah.
what's making this even worse for us as business owners, because not only do we need to be putting out good quality content now to be able to capture somebody's attention, we also now need to be up against the fact that the AI side of things, like as soon as a person, the general consumer, can tell that this was created by AI, particularly a lot of younger generations, because they're much better at spotting it, they are immediately just tapping out because it's not a real human connection. You know, I mean, that person could go on AI and read and see and get their own version of whatever you just put out there, right?
Mhm.
And so, what makes that special? Why would somebody pay attention? And so here is my caveat to all of this. Absolutely, we should be using AI. Okay, there's a ethical and moral conversation to all of this stuff, and I have my opinions about that. It's AI is generally not great for the world at the end of the day, right? But right now, if I feel as if it's almost unreasonable for you to not use this tool as a small business owner who already does not have enough energy and time to be able to do all the things that is required of you to grow, and particularly when you have competition who is also utilizing this tool, who is going to get much further ahead of you than if you were to not, than if you decided to not use it. So what we really need to be doing is we really need to be refining our skill set when it comes to how we're using the tool, and making sure that we can spot when AI looks like AI, when your content looks like AI. And particularly, I'm going to give you guys this like hot nugget. Like, if you're using ChatGPT,
Take
it
the
is
dash out.
take the M dash out,
Take
please.
it.
It is the telltale sign. And it sucks because as a natural writer, and I would say I'm a pretty good writer by myself, like as a natural writer, I love an M dash. I will go on a run on sentence forever, and that little M dash makes it grammatically correct. And so now I can't even write how I naturally want to write, because there is now this sentiment. And so it really is, but it just is what it is. It's the way that the world is moving. But you need to have an eye for your own content, and you also need to know how to work with the tool to be able to get content back that is going to actually perform and that people are going to pay attention to, and that it doesn't look like it's AI. So I'll stop there.
No, yeah, everything you said, so relevant, so important. Literally every single word you just said, I agree with, and I
Mhm.
did take some notes. One, I think that do you know who Chris Do is?
Yes, I do. Yes, yes,
I mean,
yes.
he's like my guru. He's freaking
Yeah.
amazing. If I could afford him, I would have him coach me, but I don't have $20,000 a month or whatever it is he charges just yet. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress, manifesting as we
Yep.
speak.
Yep.
But he always says, if you don't use AI, I'm not, I am of the Gen X generation, but I'm not anti AI. I'm always progressive in my thinking. And
Mhm.
I think that's important for anyone, right? Or
Yeah.
else you'll die faster, in my opinion. But
Yep.
I think, he always says, if you are not using AI, you're choosing to be irrelevant. Why would you do that? That's number one. And the other thing that he always says too is if you're using AI word for word, verbatim for everything, then what do they need you for? They don't need you. And that's what
Yep.
you said, to parlay on what you said. It's like, for me, like you, I'm a natural writer. Everyone has always told me, I mean, when my clients who are professors and doctors and lawyers tell me what a great writer I am when I send my
Mm.
emails, right? And I've been in this now going on 30 years, so I
Yeah.
didn't have AI to write anything. So
Yep.
I always took that as a huge compliment.
Yeah.
So that said, I always used dashes. I'm like,
I know.
Oh, you took my dash. I'm so annoyed,
Yes,
right?
it's
So
so annoying.
yeah, so now I'm like, well, but I have noticed that if you do a real dash, it's a shorter dash. It's not that
Yes.
long. And then take the emojis out, take the sparkly out. I mean, come
Yeah.
on. Like don't Ugh, I digress. Use your brain. Use your brain. I mean, we're
Yeah.
already overstimulated.
Mhm.
I mean, and AI is such a great tool. I mean, it gets you started. Go in though and put you in it. That's all.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great it's a good way to a good simple way to think about it and to ensure a little bit less risk in it coming off as you're just throwing AI up there is it can be great to get started or it can be great to polish, right?
Yeah.
Never both.
Yeah.
Never like it's you start and end with it. It's like you can maybe start with it to get some ideas, to get something rolling, right? Or you can put your own draft into it and then have it polish it and refine it to then be published. And I think that that is a really great way that we can make sure that we're putting enough of our own unique perspective in it, but still use the tool in an efficient and beautiful way. And I'm just gonna give a nugget out there, like ChatGPT is really like it because it is so like you can just see and tell what the patterns are with it. Like you can really sniff it out from like a mile away. Like it's very unpersonalized in its responses nowadays.
If you see
And
the word real,
is there is many words, or if it just is like
REAL, I think that's one of the only words it knows. But go on.
and it's like if it like it just gives such like extravagant adjectives to everything. It just you can just spot it. You can just feel it. You can see it. And what I would suggest is looking out. There are other AI models out there who don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, so I'd recommend like Claude. I'm a big fan of Claude right now, and I'd really recommend that a lot of people start maybe possibly adopting Claude instead. And you will see like how much better that your results are when you start to switch over to a different AI model.
Yeah, even
And that's not to
Gemini is not terrible.
Nope,
So,
Gemini's not terrible either, and
yeah.
so just but regardless, remember it's still AI, it's still all going to sound like a robot a lot of the time, so just you should be refining your own skills to be able to spot that stuff. That's the difference is that like as a business owner, you having your own knowledge and your own skills becomes even more important because that will allow you to navigate any changes a lot more smartly, for a lack of a better term, intelligently, strategically. You'll be able to actually spot this stuff instead of just relying on it to do the work for you.
You know what still surprises me? How many stylists tell me they've never heard of Virtue Lab products. I found Virtue back in 2017 at a hair show, and I've been hooked ever since. I use it on myself, like this beautiful flourish right here. It's their hair thinning line. There's a full system. There's a shampoo, there's a conditioner, there's the density booster, one that's drug free, and the other one that has minoxidil in it, which is amazing, you guys. If you haven't tried these products, please do. And it's one of the lines I actually stand behind as a professional. Here's why it's different. Virtue is the only hair care line in the world that uses human-derived keratin called alpha keratin 60 KU. Because it's human derived, your body recognizes it as its own and actually accepts it. We all want products that truly heal and repair hair, right? Not just make it shiny for a day. Virtue does that. It literally fills in the cracks in the damaged areas, strand by strand. So, you guys, trust me, you'll see results after one use, but after 5 washes, honey bunny, the hair will feel like a completely different head of hair. Soft, strong, and actually healthy. So if you're ready to stop masking damage and start repairing it, I know you're ready. Shop Virtue through my link today in the description. Support the show, support your hair. You'll thank me later. Bye. We tackled, I think, some good topics. I
Yeah.
hope that it's enough for people to learn and chew on and digest and all the things. And as you know, Hunter, I love games so much. So this game I call "Say It to My Face." All right?
Okay.
And how it works is we're gonna do a little role playing.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the client. You're gonna
Mhm.
be you, Hunter the hairstylist. All right? And I've worked on some client energy, so I'm gonna try to give my best, actress performance as a
I love
client.
this.
All right? I'm
Cool.
sitting in your chair, daring you to say this to my face, but I have a feeling that you will. So here we go. All right. We get okay. Hi, Hunter. I want this transformation, but I only booked a 2-hour slot because that's really all the time I have.
Got you. So, totally get where you're coming from. This transformation looks really cool, and I would absolutely love to do it for you. With you booking this 2-hour slot, what were you hoping to make happen today? And I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. Were you hoping to be able to get from A to Z today to be able to leave with this result?
Yeah, I was hoping to look just like the girl that I just showed you on TikTok, 'cause on TikTok, her stylist was able to take her from, like, a level 2, my level, to, platinum.
Gotcha. Beautiful. Okay. So love the picture. And I'm looking forward to diving into like the different details about the picture that you like. And maybe when we do that today, we'll be able to see if we can achieve the specific parts of it that you like on your hair within the 2 hours. But here is me being honest with you. As much as I would love to wave my magic wand because I truly want you to leave with a great result today, as much as I would love to wave my magic wand and make timing, infinite and just be able to take care of everything, I unfortunately don't believe that I'll be able to deliver on this result to the quality that you deserve within 2 hours. And so, what we could possibly do today, because this is a little bit of a risky transformation, is we could actually do a test strand on you today. So that way I can see how much that you'll lift reasonably. And then that'll give us a really good idea of what we would be looking at a future appointment, how long you'd have to book it for, how much it may cost, and also if this is even going to be safe for your hair at all. And it'll save you time in the future. So that way we're not just, I'm not just saying like, no, we're not going to do anything today. That way we're actually getting started in our process and we can give you something to work off of and look forward to. And then once we do that, I can get you booked as soon as possible for the actual first service. But I think a test strand today would be a really good idea, only if you're down for that. So, how does that sound to you?
Oh my god, that sounds amazing, and I feel like as a client, my hopes came in like this, and then I went, more mid-level, like, "Oh, shoot. Okay, this isn't gonna go my way today." But then you brought me back up because you said it's possible, and I think that's all clients wanna know. Is it
Yeah.
possible? Right?
Yeah.
And I think your delivery was perfect. Thank you for that one. Okay, now you
Thank
got
you.
another client in your chair, all right?
Okay.
This one, I'm more influencer-y, right?
Okay.
I already know that you could do this because I follow you on Instagram, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So
Gotcha.
I saw on TikTok I need a root melt gloss and low light sandwich, or am I even saying that right?
Okay. So, totally feel you. And I love the results that you're bringing to me. I think that it's like important that you have some sort of pictures or videos so that way we can be on the same page as far as like what we're trying to achieve. So, this is beautiful. This is very cool. What I would love for us today, my friend, I am a very analytical person myself. I want to know the ins and outs of everything normally, and I'm a nerd, but I'm also very busy and I'm stressed out. And sometimes I just want to let somebody else take care of things for me. Is that like you at all?
Ah, got
Like, do you
you.
agree with me?
I do. I actually
Okay,
do.
great. And
Yes.
so here's my philosophy as a hairstylist. My philosophy as a hairstylist is I want you to be able to walk in this building and in my chair, and I want you to just be able to tell me what you want. I want to be able to break down to you what's possible, what's not, and what you can look forward to today. And I want you to be able to sit back, relax, and trust that I will take good care of you. And so, what I'm able to do today is I'm able to review this picture with you, go over what you're looking for, what you like, what you don't like, what I think is reasonable for what you can leave with today, give you a real quote that I can guarantee to you and what you should be expecting to leave with, and then we can go from there, and then I will decide what actual service and techniques that we do today, and I will break down to you what I'm doing and why I'm doing them. But I don't want you to have to worry about or stress about or choose if we're getting a toner or this or that or the third, I just want you to know that you are going to get X today and it's going to cost X and you're going to leave feeling great. So, how does that sound to you?
Oh, that sounds amazing, and thank you for taking all of that off my plate because I was so confused of what a
Yeah.
root melt, what a this or that or this is,
Yeah.
right?
A lot of the time I'll tell clients these words and these different techniques have so historically been so confusing and they've only gotten more complicated over time, and it's made clients feel as if that they need to take the responsibility on themselves to figure this stuff out. But when you're working with a great service provider, the service provider will take that off of your plate and just give you the service that they know is going to get you to the result. And so that way you don't have to stress about it.
Awesome, and this is actually real life that just happened to me yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm a client, I go in for a service, really hard for us as stylists to actually pay money to get our hair done in the first place, but I
Yes.
went in inquiring about K-tips, not knowing
Mhm.
anything about K-tips. She gives me the estimate, it's 3 grand. I'm like, "Holy shit, alright, so now I'm the client in your chair." And this is exactly what I said to her, "I didn't expect the service to cost this much." I'm
Mhm.
I'm kind of nervous now because I really haven't established trust with you yet.
Absolutely.
What would you tell me?
Oh, that is completely fair. I mean, this is a investment and I completely agree with you and I would feel the exact same way that you feel. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Here is what I can do for you is I can explain to you how I'm going to go about all of this stuff and I can make sure that we're completely on the same page. I can guarantee you there will be no surprise costs beyond this quote that I'm giving you today, but then you get to decide how we move forward. Okay. I am not here to pressure you. I am not here to be like, okay, like, we're closing the deal, take a crazy deposit from you and move on. I only want to move forward with clients who are absolutely ready and willing to work with me. And I want you to feel as if you can trust me. And so we can go through all of the process again. I can make sure that we're on the same page, and then you can take some time and you can decide from there. Or maybe we could do a little demo of what this would look like today if I have the time, with, I don't know, one side of your head or whatever it may be. And you can feel that out for a while before you actually commit to like the 100% full blown installation if you would like to. So those are some options that are available, and you can take your time. I'm not here to judge you or pressure you. I want you to feel completely comfortable and confident in your investment.
No, that's a great response, and I think clients, that's all they want, right? They wanna feel seen and heard because it is a
Yes.
lot of money that we're asking of them, whether we're worth it or not has really nothing to do with it. They still have to spend the money.
Yes. And what makes you actually valuable is when you make somebody feel seen, heard, and respected. Like that's when people start to actually really see your worth, is when you show them that you are taking the time to take care of them. I think what the biggest miss I think the with us as hairstylists historically feeling stepped all over, feeling abused, et cetera, for so long, I think that we first off are kind of it's our fault. We've set that system up. You know what I
Ooh,
mean?
yes,
And
we did.
so so now as we're trying to swing the pendulum, as we're trying to regain that power, gains some respect and start to take better care of ourselves, we go into the complete opposite direction and we forget about the client. And so then what ends up happening is the complete opposite, where you just don't even have a client at all. And from the very beginning of my career, from my coaching, all of it, I've always said there is a best of both worlds. And that's what I always preach to and teach to, is that there can be a beautiful middle ground where we respect the client and we respect ourselves and everybody wins at the end of the day. And us being like, oh, well, I'm worth it. If you don't want it, then goodbye, does not help anybody at the end of the day. It does not help your reputation, and it's not going to help the client move forward in confidently paying you and having a great service and being able to move forward and tell their friends that they had a great experience versus a shitty one.
Absolutely, and taunting your client and clapping back and all that stuff too, that really irritates me. So,
Mm.
yeah. Woo! But yes, you said a mouthful, and that is so true, and, I was talking about this with my last guest, and she said, "Yeah, it feel we display so much now, like, look at my car, look at I charged $10,000 for this." Almost like, "Nah, nah, 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 nah,"
Yes.
and people are like, "Oh, yeah?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
be a little less arrogant, why don't you?
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I love that, and you are such a professional. I would love to sit in your chair any day.
Hell
They get
yeah.
a treat because 'cause you're professional. I love that.
Thank
Alright,
you. That
so
means a
I
lot.
think before we go, we have time for a real life client question
Okay.
because I have, one I have a question for us, and let me pull it up. You would think I'd be more efficient and actually have it in the chamber, but no.
Oh, no, you got it, you got it.
Oh, no, no, no. Okay, let's see. Her name is Connie. What did she say? Okay, glasses on, activate. Um, okay. She says, her name is Connie. Connie says, if a client asks for a particular service that you don't think her hair can tolerate,
Mm.
what do you do when she insists?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Okay. So I think this is as with all decisions, I think this really comes down to how the stylist wants to approach things, you know? Like you can decide whether you are going to say like make sure that the risks are clear, the expectations are set, and then move forward with what the client wants anyway. Like that's an option. Or you also have the option of just fully refusing the service unless certain parameters are met, or just fully refusing the service at all. So you kind of have those options and how you want to go about it. For me, I think it probably really depends on the situation, but I think the biggest most important thing that you do in this circumstance is just make sure that the client understands that you want this for them. And I
Mhm.
express that in our role playing a lot of the time was that I am on your team. You know, like I want this for you too. Like there is nothing more than I want for you to get the result that you want. Like this is not me versus you. This is me trying to be with you and trying to make sure that we're on the same page and that we can get to wherever we're trying to go in the safest way possible. And so I think that that's the most important thing when you have somebody where you do need to set expectations or make difficult decisions or say no is just as you're doing it, instead of just being like, oh girl, this is a wig, like this is not going to happen, saying to the person, oh my gosh, totally feel you, I completely understand what you want, is it okay if I break down to you what I'm thinking is possible and what's not possible and what the risks are, and then telling you what I think we should do from there, and then going from there. Because if like I said earlier, this was like literally my favorite sentences, I would kill to wave a magic wand and to make this happen for you. Like, I want this for you just as much as you want it because I care so much about how you feel when you leave here. But XYZ, I think, is the best way to handle any situation such as this.
And that, my friends, is how you run a business.
Period. I love that.
Yes, and me, I can say this with my clients because I've had them for so long. You know, I
Right.
would definitely, if you're a baby stylist watching this, never say this to your client, but I'll say to them, like, it does not matter how fabulous your hair looks when I'm done if it is on the frickin' floor or in the
Period.
bathroom sink.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, you know, sometimes you do have to give them those hard conversations and don't
Agreed.
be afraid that you're going to lose the person if you say no, because you're going to lose the person if you say yes. And not only that,
Yes.
you're going to lose the person and your reputation. And when you're in that beginning stage trying to establish credibility, please only do what you know how to do. And that is
Yes.
it, right?
Huge, agree. Absolutely. And in the beginning, it's so hard to say no. I mean, and it's really just difficult for the ego because you already feel so scared and nervous that this person is going to trust you or not trust you or whatever it may be, right? And then so like you are already feeling this pressure to like prove that you're the expert and like prove that you can do all this stuff, when in reality it's actually much more courageous, much more admirable, and much more responsible as a professional to say no and to admit that you can't do this or you're not experienced in this even. I think that that goes such a longer way and can even create a long long term amazing client stylist relationship way more than if you pretend that you can do things or that you're scared to say no. So you do it anyway. And then shit hits the fan regardless. And I think that that is a hard lesson that I'm sure that you, myself, and any experienced stylist has had to learn.
Oh gosh, take it from us, please, if you're watching.
Yes.
Just don't do it. Just
Yes.
don't. Yes. All right. The amazing Hunter Donia, everyone. Hunter, tell my audience where they can find more of you.
Yeah, you guys can always find me on Instagram at hair by Hunty, Hunty, or you can check out my website, hunterdonia.com. Or you can check me out on the Modern Hairstylist podcast, wherever you're listening to podcasts. All those places are great ways to start to figure out what I'm about, who I am, and how you can work with me. And thank you so much for having me on the podcast today, Kim. You are such a pleasure and such a fun person to get to chat with. And it was an honor to get invited back on. And I hope that we get to do this again in the future.
Oh, all day long. Absolutely. All righty. Have the best day. Bye.
Bye.